everything. So let me just pull this up and we will begin today's discussion. This should be no my outfit. I want you guys to see my outfit. So that's okay. Is that fine? Okay, this is fine. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Hey there, beautiful souls. I am Sneh the Lavish Alchemist. I am a spiritual guide slash teacher, and I like to share spiritual knowledge, my experience, and yes, I'm going to leave it there. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel like you like this kind of content. So it's been a while. I know I did not let my Instagram people know about the discussion that I'm having today. Forgive me. I'm just having some spearmint tea. So today I thought I would title today's video the veiling or the veiling and the covering of our guides, our ancestors, and what happens when our ancestors veil us, the kind of things that maybe you might be going through if you are in this phase or you are recently just have left the phase and what it all means. So, yes, grab some coffee, grab some tea, anything. Grab a blanket. I know it is cold, but because I am doing this for the vibes, I am just like I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna look good, and yes. So the veiling of idlozi. Ooh, what happens in this phase in one's life? One thing I've noticed for myself, particularly, and actually for a lot of people that I've come in contact with, there is a time period which is actually a contract that we sign with certain guides, ancestral spirits, and so forth. When they have had this agreement, right? When they have chosen you, we've had this higher level agreement with them, which sometimes, most of the time, we don't remember. We don't remember that we have these agreements with them before we come and incarnate in this time space reality. But what happens is we come here and we live our lives, and we have this weird amnesia where you don't remember things. You don't remember the promises that you made. You don't remember who you made them to. You don't really remember on a logical level your soul, the soul contracts that you have, the soul group. There's this like amnesia phase that goes on, right? Cool. And you go about your life. You're living your life. And with people that are highly protected by their guides, like very protected by the guides, whose guides are very possessive over them. There's like this veiling that happens around them, right? It's like, how can I say? It's like you are being covered, right? Being covered from the world, being covered by certain situations, even it has such an imprint even on like your personality. Even they will cover you to an extent where even you will become very introverted, you won't be very extroverted, and so forth. And within this covering that our ancestors do, or guides, or whoever you're walking with, whatever goddess that you work with, whatever angels that you work with, they can really keep a lot of things or keep you away from a lot of things that you desire. They do this even by making you a late bloomer, right? Where certain people can do certain things, but it's like with you, it's so hard for you to do these things. You feel like it's hard for you. You feel like it's like, I don't know how to put it, like it's almost as though you live life in the 3D where you're watching other people. You're watching people do things, and you're like behind, and you're just wondering, why can't I connect with the world? Why can't I why can't I participate sometimes? What is wrong? And you have your own interests. So what they do also is that you are actually in the womb of what whoever is holding you, right? Or if you are like under the wing of a certain angel or whatever. And within this time period where you feel like whatever you're trying to do is not manifesting, or whatever, how can I put it? For instance, you have ideas that you want to manifest, you have plans that you have, or you want to be a certain way, you want to see yourself be extroverted, you want to participate in this great doing. What they do sometimes is really isolate you. Within this period of isolation, what also happens is you will find yourself having certain interests and not knowing why. You'll find yourself being obsessed with certain things, or just your interests being sparked by, I don't know, certain topics, books. Let's say, for instance, spirituality, the esoteric, the occult. And you're in this period where they're grooming you and they're really fine tuning you to be a certain kind of way. And whenever you step out of that, you are usually met with a lot of disappointment because it's not time yet, right? They have a certain time for you. And not only that, sometimes they wait for you to honor the contract that you've signed with them. So let's say, for instance, you were known to, if I burp, please, you know what it is already. If I burp, yeah, you just know what it is. So they wait for you to fulfill the contracts. Let's say for a lot of people, it might be uktwasa or whatever. For me personally, that wasn't the case. It might be a little ritual that you need to do with that certain ancestor, right? And that's what is needed for a certain time. They let you have the grace, they let you have a grace to do whatever that it is, but it always feels like you're not 100%. Like when you're pushing, it seems like it takes way more energy for you as a person. When you look at people around you, like, hey, how come I'm having a hard time just doing the bare minimal? Sometimes it will be hard for you to even do the bare minimal. It is because this guide understands that they are meant to walk with you. They need access. And because we are in a dimension of free will, in a sense where you have to honor an agreement and say, yes, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I fully, I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting you. I agree with you. I am here. I'm ready for you to walk on this path with me. Then they can then unlock certain things for you. They can then allow you to thrive. And the reason being is it does really sometimes feel like, I'm going to say, it does feel like, how can I say? I think for me, it felt for the longest time like, oh my God, do I need permission for everything? But now that I see and look at it, it's more like updating this, or sort of like having actually a relationship with this guide and letting them know, hey, I plan on doing one, two, three, and four. And when you allow them to at least hear what it is that you plan, they know that in the future, they can, even in the present, actually, they can sort of navigate whatever it is that you're trying to do. They will know how to protect you, they will know what's coming forth, the kind of people that you need to meet in order to make this happen, the lessons that are going to happen. It's like, if you really think about it, it's sort of like, how can I put it? It's as though they yes, you're working together. Yes, you're working hand in hand with this guide so that they can navigate things with you. And with a lot of souls that were here and you're not aware, first of all, when you're not aware on a conscious logical level, because in the 5D and your higher levels, we're always aware in those dimensions and our higher levels of understanding. we know the contracts that we've signed. It's just that here, we have this weird amnesia thing, and it actually causes a lot of unnecessary karma sometimes. But what I was trying to say is, when you're in the phase, and I know a lot of people that are in the phase where they are in the dark, they're in the phase where you're trying to make something happen in your life, or there's just so many unfortunate events that are happening. It is because that link, that soul link and agreement that hasn't been made, needs to be made. It needs to be made, and once it is made, you will see how beautifully you thrive. So I just want to say, and also tell you of like the signs sometimes that you're in this phase. Usually, with what I've seen, people that are in this dark womb space, it's like you're in like the womb basically. You're not really being birthed yet. You're being prepared. You're like baking and you're cooking, and you're being taught, and you're going through refinement within the womb. It's like also sort of like a kind of initiation, a kind of spiritual initiation that's going on. You will be a late bloomer for sure. You will be a late bloomer. It can get to a point where even your ancestors, just these guides, or whoever you're walking with, can make you quite socially awkward. Socially, you may yes, you may be lively, you may be lively, you may have like a very open personality, but there's just this weird awkwardness going on where it's like people can feel that there's something there, right? Which I'm gonna go to the other point. They feel that there is a power emanating from this individual, but they can't really put their finger on it. They're like, hey, we feel there's something there, but we don't know. And then sometimes they make you like this person where you just don't want people around sometimes, or you know your limits. I like people, I'll have them for a certain amount of time, and then after that you're just like, okay, I just need my own space. So you have like this flakiness. Yes, you have this flakiness about how you go about your social interactions. You'll interact with individuals, but then you interact from a distance. Yes, you interact from a distance, and no one can really get too close to you because they have the people that they know they want you to be close with, and that I'll get to, right? So you become a late bloomer. You're like this awkward person's, like, yes, you may be loud, but there's just this awkwardness. And not only that, you're very aloof, you're very flaky. You're very flaky with relationships, in a sense that social relationships, being out there, having friends, being consistent with that can be very up and down for people that are like this. And third of all, your potential can also be veiled. This happens for obvious reasons. Even though people can feel something great emanating from you, it will not be very clear. It will sometimes only be clear to particular people in your life, only a specific people that they know you have a soul contract with, which some of us call soulmates, right? And these are people that will see your potential and really want what is best for you, and really want to see you thrive. So what I call these people are like your friends, your soulmates. For me, example, I have a friend who, when we were like in high school, he would always refer to me as healer, like the healer. He'd always be saying this and really affirming it to me, and I was wondering, why does he keep, affirming this to me? Why does he keep saying this to me? Why does he keep affirming that I'm a healer? What does this mean? I would get so annoyed. And that's like my best friend for like what, the longest time, like 11 years of friendship. He was the first person to ever like actually tell me, hey, and that was, my calling the whole time. So they will have certain people in your life that will see this greatness they will allow them. They will allow them to be in your life for a long time. And these are people that want the best for you. These are people that, how can I say it? These are people that can feel this energy. They can feel that there is something great, and they want to bring it out of you. And another thing that I also notice is that you will, as you are veiled by other people, right? When, and these are people that you could over you were always around, by the way. These are people that you have social interactions with, that really couldn't quite put their finger on whatever it is that that you have. But once it is time, and once your contract is fulfilled, and it is time for you to be seen, once it is time for you to be opened and to like blossom as the flower that you are, as they were working on you, as they were giving you teachings, as you were in the cosmic womb receiving teachings that you don't even logically you can't even like comprehend with your own mental, because there are certain DNA updates that we go through. I know this sounds very like sci-fi whatever, but we receive a lot of DNA updates. For me personally, I know for a fact that I would be conscious during certain even like surgical how can I how do I put it, like it's like having like a spiritual surgery where you have your guides performing things on you, removing certain energies and updating you, or moving with your energy systems and updating that. If you're lucky enough, or even unlucky enough, to be conscious during those times in your dream state, you will see for yourself that, oh, a lot of work is being done in the astral realm too. And it's so funny because when that phase is done and you have honored your contract with this guide, right? And for a lot of people that watch my stuff, a lot of us are not meant to follow the path of, you know, being, what can I say, being initiated in the traditional way. A lot of people like to refer to us as self initiates. It can be triggering for a lot of people, but for context, that's what I'm going to use. For people that are like that, you will literally at times receive downloads and wake up just knowing things and just knowing what needs to be done. And especially if you do the work, if you, whatever work it is for you, whether you follow the moon phases, whether you work on your energy, and whatever it is, I notice for a fact, even when you step up as a person that knows that first of all your gift is up to you, when you do step up, you do make this agreement with this guide. I'm telling you, when you have structure, when you have the discipline, your prayers are received. And as you're working on your energy is also being worked on by your guides. And you will see when it's time for you to bloom, right? Whether you're in this phase or you're still, in the other phase where there's so much confusion and darkness, but when it is actual time for you to bloom, it's like there is this speed that you go with that can actually be quite, it can be quite shocking, it can be quite scary at how, or even like how much reception you get from the outside world after being in this womb state, brewing for so long, being taught, being initiated in that sense in the astral realm, going through so many astral ceremonies and initiations, and then finally honoring that contract, and then stepping out into the world, owning your gifts, um, holding yourself accountable even for your own spiritual growth. The kind of like movement that happens is, it's incredible. It's incredible. And if you are in this phase, you are in this phase where there's a lot of confusion, where you can even feel, because you can literally feel it, like you can feel. A lot of people, they will think, yo, it's just Chito or whatever you want to call it. uh Ancestors can veil you too, like your own ancestors can like veil you until you honor whatever contract that is. And for people, some people it's different, you know. Some people, they can go to a healer, and you know that they get the clarity that they need. Some people will go from one healer to the next and not get the clarity that they need because their own guides want to connect with them personally. There are a lot of guides, especially today, that do not really trust the opinions of others. Hi, hi. And the reason why I see someone joined, and the reason why they do not trust the opinions of others is because whenever we as humans receive knowledge, it is filtered through our perceptions. It is, and we have our perceptions from what? From our experiences. So whatever you are experiencing will be filtered through that, and then from your own subconscious learning and even conscious learning, you then give an answer. And these guides that don't like certain programmings that we have in the 3D, they are guides that want their messages, or the messages that they have for all the teachings that they have, they want them to be received purely straight into that individual, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's sort of like they don't want it to be filtered through whatever that person may perceive as healing, or maybe it's even a cleanse, or whatever it's spiritual, anything it may be. They don't want it to be filtered through that individual and their training. They want you to receive it purely, especially if you don't have any previous training. You don't really know much about the space. Yes, you've had you've been curious, you've been doing your research, you've been doing this, but you don't really have that basis in terms of African spirituality. They want you to be open in that way, because there are many gifts right now at this time where a lot of people are not going to know how to go about it, because it is meant to be received by the individual themselves. And they also want you to trust yourself. So there's this trust thing that you need to have in order to know, how do I navigate this? And not know logically, because a lot of us struggle because we're still at the logical level, because we've been trained by, going to school, going to primary, going to high school, college, that learning is this way. You learn with a book right in front of you, you have a teacher right there, and a lot of souls will actually want a guru outside, and you'll meet one, and if it is not meant, that guru will teach you only to a certain extent, but they should actually help you listen to your own voice, because that's who is speaking through you. That is what your guides want for you, is for you to tune into what they have. They want you to tune into what is the teaching there. Sorry if you hear any like music. It's a full house today, so I hope that YouTube does not demonetize. I mean, doesn't like remove anything, because I know YouTube is a bit, what's the word? YouTube is a bit strict than TikTok. With TikTok, you can play music. But anyway, so if you're in this phase where you feel like, honestly, everything you're trying to do seems to be stopped, the businesses that you're starting, it just seems like it takes a lot to just get anything going. Really look into the contracts that you fulfilled. I mean, not fulfilled, the contracts that you've signed, the guides that you're working with. What do they want from you? And I'm telling you, as a person that has been through this, once you establish that connection, once you learn to first actually trust that you are already receiving the kind of guidance that you need, because a lot of people are not confident and do not trust that they are already receiving these downloads. A lot of us, we receive downloads and then we just doubt immediately. You just doubt. I don't think it's like, I don't know if it's like the one. I was feeling this. And people like me, 9 times out of 10, with the amazing souls that I meet, my cosmic girls, my cosmic baddies, I am just there to confirm that, oh, yeah, it is this way. That's why you see one, two, three, and four, because we're always receiving the signs, right? And when it is time for you to shine, when you are birthed and you are and you're at a phase where you need to be seen, you need to honor the fact that that phase that you were in when you were in the womb is over. I know a lot of people will come out of this the phase that they were in and then be stuck in the transition phase of moving on to the other and not allow themselves to be seen. When the phase is done and you've done, you've connected, it's time for you to show up fully. It's time to then take the actual steps. Doubt just takes over at time, or most of the time. It really does. It really does. And doubt comes from the logical mind. Doubt comes from our minds wanting steps. Like, we want step by step, because why? We went to school, and in school there was like an instruction, and then you learn step by step. But then in the spiritual world, it is not that way. And it's actually not how we learn by taking the steps. So when you are in that transit period, you will still feel your old self, sort of have a fear of being seen, have a fear of being out there in the world, have a fear of sharing the talents. But you need to honor that your period of being veiled is over. Your period of not being seen is over. Your period of being, people stay too much in that high priestess energy where, you're closed, you're not seen. Not that you don't honor that too, where you need your own space, you will. But, honor that that phase is over. You're in the transitioning phase of now taking the steps, taking the action, being seen by people for your talents, using your talents, allowing yourself to be seen by the world, whether they judge you or not. That's not what this is about. Like, this is about showing up because you have been worked on by your guides. They've done what they needed with you. You know what I'm saying? And now you're moving on to a phase where it's like, it's time for me to be seen, and you will feel it mostly. I know for a fact the solar plexus is what, at this phase of being seen, the solar plexus is what's affected the most. You get this, this anxiousness, like, oh, I don't know, like, should I do this? And you are already receiving the divine insights. My beautiful, lovely souls that I work with and I have sessions with, they already know what they need to do. That's the funny thing. 9 times out of 10, we always know what we need to do, but we feel like we need to have 10 steps ahead, and it's no. Step one is enough. The unveiling is gone. The contract has been fulfilled. Okay, this is now when the contract is being fulfilled. It's time to step up, and I'm in that phase now. And I know, even for myself, I am even preaching actually to myself, because I know that no one experience is unique. I understand that we're all connected. So I'm in a phase right now where it's like, okay, it's time to be seen. When you need to take your time to be alone again and to like recuperate, and you will do that. But when it's your time to be out there, be out there. Start whatever it is that you want to start, because not only that, when you fulfill this contract, you have the guides with you. You have your team with you. They are rooting for you always. They are protecting you. They are bringing the people, especially if you do your manifestation work and you let them know, hey, bring forth the souls that I am meant to connect with in my business. Bring forth, the people I'm supposed to meet, the amazing adventures I'm supposed to go to, even the amazing locations I'm supposed to be in, that will actually activate activate you, because there are different locations within the world that you'll be called to. Some people don't even know why they're called to travel. It's because they also have a contract with that specific area that needs to be fulfilled, and they will realize that after, some people, I know they, it happens a lot, like after like a vacation or something, they'll realize, hey, I feel lighter, I feel 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or a lot of people, after they go home and connect, with their families, they'll come back and feel lighter, they'll feel like things are clearing up. Why? Because you have a contract with that geographic location that will actually unlock certain energy points within yourself. It will lessen things. So this world that we live in, it's very interesting, like when it comes to contracts alone, areas, and agreements that we sign. But yes, I think for today's discussion, I'm going to leave it there. I see that it's been 30 minutes, and I hope when you guys do watch this, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you are in your stage where you are being veiled, do not panic. Do the inner work. Do the discipline is what matters the most in this phase. Showing up for yourself, having your own kind of discipline, your own devotion, especially for a spiritual. Have, whatever it is that you practice it. Master your craft. Um, Work on it. Work on that tapping into that deep part. And I know it can be so confusing for the logical mind, but this is a phase that when you are shining will teach you that the unseen, subtle spiritual energy is just so much more powerful than, hello, is so much more powerful than the physical world, because you will then have the tools that you need when you are in the physical platform, or when you are given a platform to just shine. You will have the discipline that be. And another thing is, if you have been brewing where no one was looking, it's such a beautiful thing, because you don't need too much validation too. You don't need a lot of validation, because you have taught yourself how to grow and bloom where no one is watching. By the time you are in your phase of being out there, you know how to put yourself together. You know what you need to do. And when I say no, I mean really intuitive knowing, listening, feeling, listening to the body. Because a lot of us want to think with our minds. I'm telling you now, the moment you think with this logical mind, the kind of disasters that will happen. Listen to your body, listen to your heart. Okay, that's what it's about. Listen to your body, listen to your heart, and just go forth and trust, because you're always protected. You are always being guided. Okay, and I think I'm gonna leave it there. Yes, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will try to have more discussions, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know what the future holds. But yes, have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I don't even know how I'm not gonna switch off the live. But anyway, I love you all. Check me out on Instagram, check me out on TikTok. And I hope you guys are enjoying the meditations. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. I think I'm actually gonna go join you guys on TikTok now. But anyway, love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. I'm so glad it was informative.